Hey everyone, Brody here with our new channel, Let's Table It, where we get games to the table. I have a copy here of Ivion, the Ram and the Raven, and it's by Ape Games. Ivion is a two-player game that uses cards, but also a board and miniatures to host an epic battle between players. Each player controls a character with a different deck that has different abilities to fight and to defeat their opponent. Some cards will deal damage, while others will prevent your opponent to deal damage to you. The object is to defeat your opponent by lowering their hit points to 0. Season 2 of Ivion includes 3 different boxes with 2 characters included in each. I have this box here with the Steward and the Watcher. Each has a story as to why these 2 characters are facing off against each other. I will let you discover those on your own. Each character comes with its own beginning deck, but as you learn the game, you can craft your own deck with other cards included within the game. The board is a 4x4 grid, and players will choose their hero and place them in the right corner of their side of the board. Each character has a hit point tracker, and these are placed on the side with the token placing on the highest value to start the game. All the tokens in the game are set out to be available for all players. Each player will have 3 feats, and these cards are placed face up in front of them. The remaining cards form that player's deck. They are shuffled, and each player draws 5 cards to start the game. After the game is set up, if you haven't, you should read the story to put context onto what is happening and why you are fighting each other. Players will take turns, and on a turn, a player will start by drawing 1 card from their deck of cards, gaining 3 action tokens to take actions with this turn, and then also gaining 1 initiative token. There are 2 types of resources in the game, actions and power. Whenever you gain those, you will put them in front of you. Actions will let you do things, give you actions, while power is gained and used by your cards. Some let you gain power, others require you to spend power. These resources can also be saved between turns. Initiative tokens are not considered a resource, and if you don't use your token on your turn, then you will not keep it. It's lost at the end of your turn. You will use your actions then to perform as many actions as you would like on your turn, provided you have the resources to do so. Playing a card costs a different amount of resources depending on the card, and you will need to pay the cost on that card to do it, and then you will perform its action. This is really the best part of the game. Cards can be used and played from your hand, or you can play your feat cards that generate or cost resources. Cards that attack might have a range that you will need to be in to perform that action. When attacking, the other player can always play an instant card to respond to you before your attack takes effect. At the beginning of the game, you might need to get into position before, playing your cards. Moving costs 1 action, and you can move anywhere adjacent to your current spot. No diagonal movement is ever done in this game. Also, if you have a slow token, you won't be able to move. You can spend your initiative token to either draw a card or move. You can spend an action or power to clear a control token applied to you. After you have done everything you want using your resources and playing out cards, you will then perform any endgame turn effects. You will discard down to 7 cards in your hand and then remove any unused initiative tokens. It's then the next player's turn. Players will be using cards to cause damage, but also to place control on the other player, which consists of slow, silence, and disarm. These might prevent you from playing certain cards in your hand. On that card, it'll be lit up, and if you have that token, then you won't be able to play that card. Now, you can only have a maximum of 5 of each type of control on you, and while you're playing the game, you want to get rid of that control. You will need to spend actions or power, including when playing a card, to remove control tokens. So you can play a card to remove control as well as play a card for its effect. In each player's deck, there are attack cards that deal damage to the other character, and then there are ability cards which will help you to set up or move around the board. Feat cards can always be used, but only once per turn, and many times they cost resources. You then might also have passive cards which have persistent effects that will always apply. Players continue to fight, and if a player gets to the point where they need to flip over their HP tracker to the other side, the wounded side, for the first time during the game, then they gain a second wind. This consists of looking at the top 5 cards in their deck, placing 2 in their hand, and then the rest on the bottom of their deck in any order that they would like. Again, instant cards can be played in response to an opponent playing a card, but also can be played on their own normally. Some cards also counter cards, and only unresolved cards can be countered. Some cards will attach to your hero, to an opponent, or a place on the board. The card is then placed near that element. There are some smaller rules, which is explained in the rule book, but really players will be continuing using cards until a player is eliminated, and the other player then wins the game. And, well, that's Ivion. This is the Ram and the Raven, but again, you can find others with 2 different characters in each of those games. The game is pretty much a card game with a board. It's kind of a combination there. Players will most likely be more interested in the cards and figuring out what they do and how to use them to get combos. But the game is more exciting to me because you also get a miniature on the board, you have movement associated with it, and there's some more tactical options in this battle rather than just card combinations. It's a fast-playing game as players will be using cards, and those cards will also give and remove different types of control that will limit other players in playing cards unless they get rid of those tokens. Then you will need to be lined up well enough to play attack cards to actually deliver some hits to the other player. This is a game where players will do better when knowing their deck of cards, and with time you can form your own combinations, knowing those cards, and you will find the sweet spot on how you want to play the game with your character and knowing the deck of cards of how you want to set it up. Then players can also purchase other copies to mix and match characters, to battle as well, make their own decks to make it more challenging for the other player and more fun for you. But really, you got to know that this is an aggressive attacking game, and if you don't want to play a game like that, then you shouldn't play this game. But this is a pretty awesome deck builder that holds an ultimate battle with some fun combos and controlling some sweet heroes with this game. Again, this is Brody with Let's Table It, where we get games to the table. Please like and subscribe to our channel. We are new and working hard to bring you videos like this, Ivion and the Ram and the Raven, so that you know these games are ones that you might want to get to your own table.